Good evening. Welcome to the July 23rd. I'm sorry, August 5th, 6:30 p.m. City Council meeting. At this time, we will stand for the pledge and prayer.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, God, we just come to you, Father, just thanking you, Father, for all that you do for us, Father. Father, just praising you, Father, for what you've done for this city, Father. And Father, we just ask that you continue to bless this city, Father. Bless the growth of this city, Father. Bless the citizens of this city, Father, and the employees of the city of Borger, Father, that they serve, Father, and then just be with the council, Father, as we make decisions, Father, that affect the city, Father, and just let us make our decisions, Father, aligned with you. And we just pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen. And at this time, we'll have any questions or comments from any citizen that would like to speak. And I see none, so we'll move on to... Oh, okay. I'm sorry, sir. Can you come up to the, so we can
We
hear?
have the ceiling mic now.
Oh, okay. Sorry. We gotta hear. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Does anybody? Yeah. Well, normally if, say for instance, if you know the lot number, just call the transfer station and tell them, even if it's not yours, if it's, okay, I don't own some of the ones in my neighborhood, but if I see some limbs, I will call, and tell them, hey, can you send somebody over here and pick up those limbs? And it's just trying to help out, because a lot of times some people just think, well, if I put it here to trash people that empty the dumpsters, they'll call it in. No, that's not. It just, each one of us can help to make Borger better, even though it's not my property. And if it's somewhere where that limb truck can pick it up, just pitch in a little bit.
Far as I did, but I was authorized to do it, and I might change it up, but that's another concern that I had. And I might have another concern tomorrow too, but anyway, I believe I gave you enough to think about anyway, so I appreciate y'all's time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I would just like to say, do a little public information, because we have a lot of things that we've put in place for the citizens to help clean up Borger. I mean, we have the free dump truck. It's not a dump truck, it's a dump trailer. I mean, we have where they can get a weed eater, a lawnmower for free. I mean, we have put a lot of things in place in the city to help clean up Borger, and it just takes a lot. It takes the citizens to take care of their,
Are there letters sent
their
out?
lots, and I mean, and we do have code enforcement as well.
Yes, sir. As of today, we have sent out over 1,000 weed letters. And right now we have over 200 and some active cases. All that is kept up with a software program called MyGov. And I do encourage you to come visit me at the office, and I would like to show you, and then we can get specific on your complaints as well. We've been overwhelmed both in citing people and trying to keep up with the areas that we need to mow. We've had pretty close to 20 inches of rain.
Right.
And so it's been a difficult year.
We've got a lot of more.
In the process, way I'm understanding, then we, eventually we will mow it. We will put a lien on it. And it
We
just,
will eventually, and the out, we did have a guy that was going through the alleys. We have lost that.
I mean, you give me a pickup and I'll voluntarily go up and down the alleys and give you addresses of places that I consider that need addressed. And I'll do that on my own time because I walk my dog twice a day in the rest.
Yeah, getting the addresses isn't the problem. It's having the labor, because we had a part-time alley crew that's what they did, is go and clear up those alleys.
Yeah.
That's the employee that we lost that's currently vacant right now. So we've gone through about 2,000 blocks of alley.
Right.
The problem is the city's got about 8.
Right.
And so, I mean, we'll put a focus on the alleys you talked about, and we are working on that. We did actually have a flyer go out in the water bills in June that talked about your responsibilities and the programs the city has in place. So we did put that in there. So we're working on it, and we'll follow up with your concerns.
Well,
I also know that we had a roll-off in our area, actually 2, on Cedar and 7th Street. Right there where that house used to be, for people to put their junk
There
in
were 2
it.
dumpsters there this past weekend.
Right.
I noticed
So I
that.
know that we're cities are trying to address stuff for people to come in and take care of their own, but I also know that one man can't do it all. He can't police the neighborhood and do the loading and take away when so many people think, well, if it's in the alley, it's somebody else's problem. Well, it's their problem.
Well, I'm old, but I can still do a little bit of work or whatever, but I mean, I'm not gonna,
I know, you and I have already talked about this issue before.
yeah.
So, like I said, we are addressing this as much as we can for as little as we can. I mean,
But if you want, she's got, this young lady here has my email and phone number, and of course you have it as well, Bob, and, any way I can help y'all, I'll be willing to help. Because I grew up in the 70s, when we redone Main Street and made it, was a beautiful city back then, and then now it seems like it's kind of going.
right. I know for ourselves too, we've piled bunches of branches out by the dumpsters and, people think that, the dumpster people will take them away.
Right.
And I've had to call people, the transfer station myself, say, hey, we've got this pile here. And like, we've had the same thing over by Hedgecoke. People dumping furniture from the apartments there and stuff out by the dumpsters. Well, they won't pick those up. You have to have
And another question too, like, the French house over on 7th and, between Coble and Hedgecoke, I believe, that burned up here a while back. How long is that gonna be? Is there any way we can
well, I
either
know we have,
have French address that or tear it down?
we can
Or
only tear down so many houses in an area within so many days. That's correct. Or
I'd leave it up to the owner of the building. I've still got his sign in front of it. It says French and Company, so that's my personal opinion.
Well, there's not, the mechanism for us to force it is to condemn it and take it from him and us tear it down. So there's not another mechanism.
Right.
So if they refuse to do it, we have to go through the lengthy process of taking someone's property.
Right.
And there are, at any given time, 20 to 40 structures on our demolition list, and we're able to get 12 to 15 of them a year. And so it just
Okay.
unfortunately takes time.
Is there anything I can do to help or whatever? I'm willing to do that because I have probably 8 to 10 hours a day that I'm not walking my dog, so I'm sitting on my hiney watching TV or sports or something, so I'd be more than willing to help.
Well, we appreciate that.
Thank you, Neil.
Thank you so much. And then, if there's no others, then we'll move on to presentation from and recognizing of the city's summer internship program.
So making them come up one at a time.
We already prearranged that we were not gonna go first.
Yeah, they voted us first, so.
I didn't know who to call, so.
No, it's fine.
We had 4 this year, so we brought on 4 summer interns to give them hopefully a little bit of some practical real world experience as they're going through school and college, and maybe make a little bit of money while they're doing it. For some reason, for better or worse, we had 2 that are back for a repeat beating.
Yeah, this is Amory's third year. We're really sad because next year she has to go to an actual like engineering internship. So we're gonna lose her, but we've definitely loved having her. In front of you, we passed out a little kind of summary of what her internship took part of. I'll let her go into details, but we really wanted to focus on professional development and networking and just kind of trying to show her like the importance of relationships and just networking. There was quite a bit of projects too that she helped us on, and then she was very essential in all of our summer programming and events that we did. Do you kind of want to go into kind of what you did?
Yeah. First of all, I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to come back like for a third year. I'm so thankful to be back, and not only that, but work with some of the most dedicated professionals that I know. It's really been a blessing and a privilege to work under Nicole and Deidre, who not only strive and push me professionally, but personally as well. And so the 3 main areas that I worked on this summer is mostly event coordination and support, projects and process improvement, and professional development and networking. And working in a position, or working alongside Nicole and Deidre, it's kind of a given that I'd be working in event coordination and support, and also professional development and networking. And so you can see the different events that I was able to help out with, and also the different networking opportunities that I've been able to take part of since coming back here in May. But I just wanted to touch a little bit more about my projects and process improvements since coming back. A few weeks ago, I was tasked by Nicole to go through the downtown district and double check the addresses that were on there. And so at first thought, going through the Hutchinson County Appraisal District website and putting those addresses in manually can seem a little bit tedious, especially whenever there's hundreds of properties. And so with a little bit of help and an idea, I was able to receive some support creating a program that simulates putting in those addresses one by one. And so me not really having to do anything, I can delegate my time to other tasks. The program would curate an Excel spreadsheet with all of those addresses, the owners, and if it's owned by a business instead of an individual, it also populated the care of fields.
Yeah, so she made a program that essentially she just pastes all of our addresses from our downtown district. It goes in, it does a little quick search, and then now it'll print me out in an Excel spreadsheet the updated like property owners for like our inventory maps and stuff. So now, and it's set, so I can literally use this all the time. Anytime I need to update it, I just got to push this button and it
That
does
was
it.
worth her salary, right?
Oh yeah, that's not
And so I'm thankful for the help that I received on that, but it's also been really beneficial going downtown to the events and helping Nicole and Deidre film. And also, we're wanting to push for more food trucks in Borger, and especially the events that we're hosting this year. So just reaching out to those businesses and maybe being in Facebook jail for a little bit was definitely worth it.
She almost got her Facebook deleted for spamming people.
But it was well worth it, and after review, I got my account back, thankfully. So,
Probably
but
need a social media break anyway.
But it's also been really beneficial reaching out to businesses, especially in Borger, and meeting with them and discussing partnership opportunities and really getting to see them and discuss with them one-on-one how we can help them, and if they would like to help us, what that looks like. And also while Deidre and Nicole were gone on vacation and conferences, I reached out to restaurant and investors regarding the Borger Hotel.
Yeah, she was sending out emails to like Marriott, Hilton, like all those places, we're trying to get that hotel done, so she did a good job.
Good job.
But it's been a really rewarding summer, as my last two were. But I just want to thank you all for the opportunity to be here for not only 2 years, but 3 years. And so it's really been a blessing to get to know each and every one of you and working under Nicole and Deidre. It's really been beneficial for me, again, not only in my professional life, but my personal life as well.
I'm gonna miss her so much.
But thank you so much.
Thank you for doing that.
And we'll answer any questions you'll have.
So do you think working at the Dome is going to benefit you in your career?
I do think it will. So if you don't know, I go to school in Arkansas, and one thing that I learned the hard way whenever I went to college is you really don't understand what you have until you lose it. Or I appreciate Borger so much more, like having been somewhere else and like looking at the initiatives that Borger is taking part of, and just like seeing what all our small town is doing, even from 7 hours away. And so even though this doesn't pertain to my degree plan specifically, I do have event coordination support skills. I do have project and process improvement skills, and I have also developed skills in professional development and networking. And so hopefully whenever I go to work again next summer, I know that these skills will come in handy, and I'm so thankful for that.
Well, this group should easily be able to reinforce to you that the personal skills of engineers are important, because you very well might end up back in front of a group like this selling a project or trying to get funding or explaining why it didn't go the way that it was supposed to go.
That's true.
Or whining and dining a group like this to make sure that you keep their contract.
Not that we're, we take it.
Engineers.
The city
like
engineers
steak.
and architects they interact with the council on a pretty regular basis. So I know that some of them are probably more comfortable in their little office doing the math, but the personal component of that is important.
We appreciate y'all letting us have this program though. It's been really helpful to us, I know for sure.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Amory.
I know we had orders, but I don't know what order I'm supposed to go in, but I'm going to go next. So unfortunately, my intern is sick, so he will not be here today. So my intern is Creed Huff, Tara Huff's son. He's from Fridge. He attends the University of Minnesota. I think this is going to be he's going to sophomore this year. I think he's studying sociology, so nothing to do with the fire service. Well, a little bit. But he's been helping us out with some art projects on Canva for a Facebook deal. He's doing photography of training projects and calls and headshots of individuals. He's been redoing some of our task books, a lot of clerical work, which is his specialty. He's really good at it, so he's really helped us out on that. So he's redone some task books and made them look more professional for us.
Which, and if you haven't heard over the years, that's because the fire department is the only department that doesn't have clerical staff.
Right, we need to work on that.
They like to, reinforce that at all times.
Maybe you can get an intern every summer.
Yeah, this is our first year to have an intern, so we've really enjoyed it. And then the last few weeks, he's been at EMS. They wanted to work on an inventory system. So he counted every piece of medical supplies that are over there, and they have a barcode. He entered the barcode in a computer, counted them. So now when they use a piece of medical supplies, it deducts it from inventory, lets Jeff or whoever's going to order supplies know. So that was a huge accomplishment.
That's great.
They just didn't have time to do that on their own. As like I said, it took him like 3 weeks full time, so he got that accomplished.
That's good.
So he's been a blessing. He's been a real help. So thank you for this. Thank you.
Awesome. I just want to say that Addison established that inventory system last summer. So this is Addison. She's back for her second year.
where you go to school?
I go to Southwestern University up by Austin. It's in Georgetown. That's actually close by where Brendan Stroop just got.
Yeah, all the flooding.
Yeah.
So all down there.
All the flooding, yeah. They're great.
Yeah. So we're not personal speakers. We are nerds that sit in the back room and don't talk to people. So I don't have a cool, nice story. She's just helped us a lot. Yeah. I was like, one of the big projects that we worked on this year was, last year we had the fires. So she did all of the paperwork with that. So this year we had a software conversion. We went from encode 9 to 10, and there was some data that didn't transfer. So she got to be the lucky girl to export the data and compare it and find what was in there and what wasn't in there. So that's taken a lot of her time with the fixed assets. She helps us with inventory again, also making sure our accounts are right, that things are in order. She has started moving all of our electronic registration and titles into our Laserfish software, so everything's web-based now. So if there's a natural disaster, all of our titles and registrations for our vehicles are now in the cloud. So she got probably more than 50% of our vehicles finished. And then with our switch, we also changed our credit card reconciliation process. So she's helped us work through all the quirks of trying to get everybody on board and getting all of that submitted, as well as filing and sorting and organizing and all the other things you might have her do. So I said everything. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, it's great to be back a second summer. I really enjoy working with all the ladies in the department, Sarah, Terry, Christy. They're a lot of fun to be around, and it feels really welcoming, even if, it's some of it can be kind of tedious. Whatever I can do to help make their lives a little bit easier is really beneficial for me, so.
Any questions for her?
No, she does thank you for the renovation, though, because part of the renovation got her a little bigger work desk than what she had last year.
That is true. That is a little tiny corner.
I don't feel quite so awkward walking by her in that little bitty, whatever that thing was that we had for her last year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Don't forget, she.
I think we're last, maybe? Just college, you from, what school are you from?
West Texas A&M.
So it's the first year. So we're glad to have her. She got to work out with multiple departments when she was assigned to emergency management, so that's the fire marshal's office. She helped with IT, she helped with finance, and also planning and development. So she got to see a little bit of different things from all the multiple departments. So she did a lot of data conversions and just some stuff like that with the 214s, logs, policies, working with our old merge reporting systems, converting stuff for our new systems, public outreach, did it from fire prevention posters, different flyers, Everbridge cards, different kind of notification stuff like that. Helped with IT with wiring and cable management. Clean up, storage room, construction debris, organization, kind of stuff like that. Some records, like I say, she helped with planning, zoning, shredding documents that's no longer needed for whatever reason. And she was able to do a little bit of training while she's here with different ICS trainings, cybersecurity trainings. So, what do you got?
I'll add, recently I've been helping out Terry with some asset report list stuff, and that's what I'm majoring in. I'm a business major, so economics and law. So I've really loved getting to work with accounts and Excel spreadsheets and really getting on hands-on experience in that area. So thank you so much for this opportunity.
That's good. Awesome. You got to do some physical labor too, it sounded like.
Yeah.
And you got to see the new command center.
I got a little bit of everything.
That's good. That's
Any
good.
questions?
Well, thank you for your work. Thank you.
So we do appreciate all that they've done. Of course, they did make a little bit of money for it, but, I think that it's important for us to, reach out to the youth of our community and get them a little more exposure to what local government does and how it, does interact with people on a lot closer and daily level than other areas of government, and get some, use their summer for some productiveness. I know that in a modern world and sometimes the way some employees are, it's nice to have interns that like coming to work and want to work and, give us a little broader outlook for what the future might hold for us, especially since, we won't be working forever, and that hopefully some of them might consider some jobs in local government that probably they didn't know anything about before they wanted a paying summer job and came to work with the city.
Councilmen don't make that much money, that's what you know.
But it's still a good cause.
It is.
Thank y'all so much. And so Garrett, is that all you
That's
have
it.
on that?
Yep.
Okay. And then we'll move on to the consent agenda, items 6 through 12. If anyone has anything on them, if not, we'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to accept consent agenda items 6 through 12 as written.
Second.
And all in favor? And it passes. They pass. And then item 13, conduct a public hearing and then consider and take appropriate action to introduce on first reading ordinance O-008-25, adopting a change to the future land use map by changing lots 16 through 18, block 1 of the Westover Hills addition from general residential to commercial. Mr. Byrd.
Yes, Mayor and Council. Miss Wendy Reyes petitioned us wanting to do a skating rink on this property, converting a church building into a skating rink. To do that, it would have to be zoned different than a residential zone district. And so we took her to planning and zoning, and their recommendation was to the city council to make this change. In this process, we've sent out 14 letters within a 200-foot radius of that property, and we did get 2 returns. And I will tell you, I passed them out to you earlier tonight, and we had one that approved and one that was protesting. The one that was protesting, some of her concerns was traffic to the area. The property that Ms. Reyes has is on the corner of College and Madison, and this lady lives about halfway up Madison Street. The one that is in favor is directly to the north of her property. So I guess from here, both this item and the next item go hand in hand. And so we just ask that you conduct a public hearing to see if you're going to pass this rezoning.
So I'm going to go ahead and open the public hearing. If anyone has anything they want to talk about, Mrs. Reyes, or if you have anything, you don't have to talk. It's whatever you want to do.
Sure.
Okay.
I can understand traffic would be one of the complaints, I guess, concerns. We are going to try to do many things to make it better for the people that are around there. We have to put fences up. If we have to do noise cancellation walls, there's a lot of things that we see in the future that we want to do and implement to not make it such a concern for the neighborhood. So I know these are things that are being taken into consideration from our side. And that's it.
Does anybody have anything for
No.
ask her? And if there's no other comments, then I'll close the public hearing unless anyone else has anything. And if not, then I'll entertain a motion.
I move to introduce on first reading ordinance O-008-25, amending the future land use map by changing lot 16 through 18, block 1 of the Westover Hill addition from residential to commercial.
Second.
All in favor? And it passes. And then item 14. Well, I need to do item 14 too, right?
Yeah, because there are, like Mr. Byrd indicated, so a rezoning has to be in compliance with the future land use map.
Okay.
So the first one changes the future land use map. The second one is the actual rezoning.
So I mean, I guess I'll open another public hearing.
Yes.
And if there's anyone that would like to speak, and if not, then I'll close the public hearing. And and entertain a motion on 14.
I move to introduce on first reading ordinance O-009-25, amending the zoning map of the city of Borger by rezoning 1202 Madison, lot 16 through 18, block 1 on the Westover Hills addition from the semi-urban residential to the commercial zoning.
Second.
And all in favor? And it passes. And then moving on to item 15, consider and take appropriate action to award a bid for the water well number 13 replacement project to Hydro Resources Mid-Continental, Inc. in the amount of $463,214. Mr. Spradlin.
So if you recall, well 13 is in the Stinnett well field. This is the one that we've had some trouble over the years with it getting sanded in. So that well's actually been plugged 2 other times. When you plug a water well, you then reset everything at a higher depth. So, the higher up you go, you start losing saturated thickness. As you lose saturated thickness, you reduce the amount of water you can pump out of it. So it's not that the saturated thickness is shrinking in that area, it's the well loses access to it at that location. So that's what happened. We did plug it and reset it, but it's at such a high level now, it's production's way reduced. So we did start the process about 7 months ago of permitting the replacement. So this is a re-drill just off to the side of the original hole for a well 13. If you recall, we budgeted about $880,000 original, as that's what the original OPC was. In the time it took to engineer that, the OPC was revised upwards to a little over $1.2 million. Fortunately, now this is the second time I've gotten to come to y'all with good news on utility projects after many, many years of high increases. The bid on this was $463,212, which about half of what the original OPC was and about a third of what the new OPC was. So we're pretty pleased with the price. Now, this is not everything. We reduced the scope of the project to allow our employees to do some of the work. So there are still some things that we have to buy, and that for our utility crews to do that, we expect that to be maybe $100,000 or a little less, but that's still well under that. We did just receive the one bid. Actually, we did get a bid that came in after the deadline from a company in Arizona. Of course, we're not allowed to accept a bid after the deadline. So they, for whatever reason, their overnight UPS took 2 days instead of 1 day. And so they probably should have planned for that. But I doubt it would have been much better. This is a pretty competitive price. Mid-Continent Hydro Resources is one of the few that actually do municipal water wells in here. They just finished up 6 wells for Crimwell out of the Roberts County wells. They did the Northwest well field originally. So they're well known, and we've got lots of experience with them. So I don't anticipate any issues. So just an update. We are still waiting on the permit for the new well, what will be well 24 in the Northwest well field. We've been talking about that for a couple of years. The permit process for a new water well is significantly longer than a re-drill. So we expect to have that sometime in the next budget year, and we'll be working on adding that well next year.
Does this include tying it into the existing piping system, or is that separate?
That's what we're going to do. That's part of what we're doing. And so that's what we've got a little pipe we have to buy, and some of the control systems, and then probably some rental equipment. We're going to relocate the pump house ourselves. And, but so this is mainly the drilling, the casing, and the resetting of the pump. And then we'll tie it in and take it from there.
Is that why the price is so much less than the?
That's probably. I still think it would have been less if we're doing everything. Of course, there would have been a markup on that. We're estimating $60,000 to $100,000 of fixed cost. If we had done that as part of the contract, you'd probably be looking at $150,000 or $200,000, which probably would have had us close to the original $800,000 OPC.
And maybe this is not a very smart question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Is this like a guarantee that the well, or is this because they've already done the test well that we know there's water here?
Well, this was a good well. It's just the sand right there keeps coming through the screen, which then once it gets embedded, you can't fix the screen.
Okay.
And so the sand damages the screen over time, and then you just,
So this is a I mean.
this is a
Okay.
replacement, yeah.
Okay.
So it's just as we've, I don't know the exact depths on this, but let's just say, you originally drilled it to, 600 feet, and then it got sanded in, so you set a plug at 550, and then now the pump's at 550 deep, so you've lost access to that 50 feet of water, and they got sanded again, so now you've set another plug and you've moved it higher up again. So now we're out of space. So now they'll go to the side and drill
Okay.
a whole new well with whole new casing.
But is that where they tested to, remember?
We didn't have to test this. Well 24, the new well, is where we've been trying to find water, and it will be drilled where we did the test well to where we tested good water. And the test,
We're sure there'll be water.
Right.
In other words. Okay.
yeah, well, it's like 20 feet from where, I mean, it's just right there. Just enough, hopefully, to get out of the complete sand where, and sand is generally a common problem in water wells because, the sandy layer is where the water is at. And so for whatever reason, that one, we've had problems with that one since it was drilled.
I just wasn't sure. I mean, like if they drill and there's no water, does that, what?
Yeah, if there would be no water, we would be out the money, but that's why up on for well 24, we did all that test drilling to make sure that we found water before you. And in the Northwest well, we did find lots of water, but we didn't find, we're looking for a set amount to produce a set GPM. And so we're spoiled because, we're looking for 800 to 1200 GPMs out of our water wells. Like the farther south you go and the saturated depth gets thinner, they're happy with like 350 gallons per minute to where we're wanting 800 to 1200. So they drill less, but they drill shallower, but they have to have more wells the farther south you go. So we are pretty lucky with what we have.
Does anyone have anything? And if not, then I'll entertain a motion.
I move to award the bid for the well number 13 replacement project to Hydro Resources Mid-Continent Incorporated in the amount of $463,214 and authorize the city manager to execute all necessary documents.
Second. All in favor? That passes. And item 16, consider and take appropriate action on a proposed combined tax rate to not exceed .606807 per $100 evaluation and schedule a public hearing and action item on the August 19, 2025 agenda for introduction and add an action item on the September 2nd, 2024 agenda for final action to adopt the fiscal year 2026 property tax rate. Mr. Spradlin.
And so I'm not going to go into just a whole lot of detail on this. We will have a full presentation with a slideshow deck at the next meeting when we introduce the ordinance for the tax rate. So when we introduce the proposed tax rate, this is the first action that the council does on the tax rate, and this is when we set the maximum amount that the tax rate can be adopted. Now, we've gone through enough work that we are actually proposing the rate we plan to adopt. A lot of your other taxing entities will propose a high rate and then continue working through the budget before they get to the proposal. But this is the maximum rate that we can go. This particular rate is our no new revenue rate. So based on the appraised values, this is the rate calculated by the tax assessor collector that will generate the same amount of tax money as we made last year. So once again, this is not a tax increase. So the city will not be voting or passing a tax increase. So last year's rate was 0.656645. This year's rate is down almost 5 cents to the 0.606807. Like I said, we'll have a lot more on that next year. I just like this time of year, especially when we talk about the no new revenue rate and all of that. I like to remind people that because it never fails. We get a lot of calls and we get a lot of feedback when everybody first gets their new appraisal and they're like, oh my God, it's gone up by however much. That's only half of your tax bill equation. The rest of it is what the rate is that each entity adopts. And so we've our rate has gone down from 0.89 6 years ago to what's going to be 0.60 this year. So that's almost 40 cents. So while your appraised value's gone up, our rates come down to offset. So the amount that you're paying the city in taxes has actually gone down over the years, even as your appraisal has gone up. But next week we will have a presentation and we'll go over some of that more. This is a record vote. This is one of those weird things, which y'all are pretty good about raising your hand, but this is one of those things you can't, cough under your throat to make it sound like you didn't vote. They want to know for sure, which way you're voting. So when the mayor calls for it, if you don't normally raise your hand, make sure that you raise your hand.
And if no one has anything, then I'll entertain a motion.
I move to schedule a public hearing and place a proposal to adopt a combined tax rate of 0.606 cents per $100 valuation as an action item on the August 19th, 2025 agenda for introduction and an action item on the September the 2nd, 2025 agenda for final action to adopt the fiscal year 2026 property tax rate.
Second.
And all in favor? And it passes.
And I will just add that
And
since
it
it is,
passes unanimously.
and since it is not a tax increase, there will only be one public hearing. If we were doing a tax increase, it would require two. But so October 19th will be the only public hearing.
Okay. And then on to item 17, consider and take appropriate action on resolution R-014-25 denying Texas Gas Service Company's proposed increase in revenue and rate changes as submitted in its June 30th, 2025 statement of intent. Mr. Spradlin.
So if you recall, we did this about a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago, when Texas Gas proposed another change. The big change 2 years ago was they consolidated us. It used to be just Borger and Skellytown and the Borger Skellytown service area. Last time we got consolidated with the rest of their West Texas cities, El Paso, Weatherford, and a few other down there to what is now their West Texas service area. This year, not only are they proposing to increase rates again, they're proposing a further consolidation into one statewide service area, which means their rates would be consistent across the other state. So some of our concern with that is we already have, that would consolidate us with Austin and some other big areas down south, which have higher rates than we do. So if this consolidation goes through and their rate design goes as planned, we'd see a significant rate increase. One of the biggest changes is the per MCF rate is planning on going down, but they're increasing the base rate. So on average, the base rate's looking to go up about $5 a month per customer. Of course, if you use a lot of gas, it might be cheaper, but if you're on a fixed income and don't use a lot of gas, it's going to be more detrimental. So by denying the rate case, I'm not saying that it's going to completely change everything, but it gives us an opportunity to intervene and make sure that the numbers are working out and that it's fair. Right now, we've reached out to Harara Law Firm, which is represented us in the last rate case, and they also represent the AXM, Alliance of Excel Municipalities, in the electric rate cases. So they're representing us in this. The other thing that this resolution will do is create the Alliance of Texas Gas City Municipalities, the ATGM. So much like we do with electric, now that we're getting a much bigger group, we're trying to get the cities together so that we can coordinate and combine our overseeing activities just like we do with electric. So I'm not for sure how many are gonna join. I've sent out a lot of emails to a lot of cities. A lot of them are small. Right now, Graham's on board, Mineral Wells is on board, Andrews is on board, Borger's on board. So, I mean, you can see the geographic area that they're covering. It's actually much more disparate and much more spread out than the electrical service because they're kind of individual. So we will likely incur the rate case expenses. They're estimated to be somewhere between $20,000 and $30,000 right now. Those are reimbursable. but generally at the end of the rate case, so there might be some delay, so we might eat some of that cost, which we did with the previous rate case, but they will reimburse those rate case expenses. That actually does eventually get passed on to the customers, because even the Texas gas rate case expenses are reimbursable by a customer charge. So you pay that on your electric bill, you pay that on your customer on your gas bill. The difference is, what's a little bit different is, on the electric cases, we always deal with the Public Utility Commission. A gas is regulated by the Railroad Commission, so this will go through the Railroad Commission. But so the two things that this does is deny their rate, which gives us the time necessary to review it and intervene at the Railroad Commission if necessary, and then it does create the Alliance of Texas Gas Municipalities. Questions?
Nope.
Generally, most utilities want a higher base rate because that revenue is predictable, to where the consumption is non-predictable. And, we deal with some of that on water and stuff too. You always prefer, but it is definitely a balancing act. And I'm not for sure how much we'll be able to influence the decision at the Railroad Commission, but we should be able to at least have some favorable movement, especially considering the geographic disparity and that our rates are currently, we're the same as El Paso right now, but those are currently cheaper than what the Austin customers are paying. So if this goes through, we're all going to be equalized. And what'll probably happen is our rates will come up, but Austin's will go down.
And so when you say there's other, are you talking about that are going to get involved with the law firm?
Right. They will. Because when we intervene at the Railroad Commission, we can intervene on behalf of multiple cities, and so it looks a lot. They're pretty much political appointees, kind of like y'all are. I mean, they're appointed, not elected. But no. The Railroad Commission is elected. The Public Utility Commission is appointed, but so they're elected. So I mean, if you were proposing a water rate increase, do you respond differently if one citizen shows up in here versus 20 citizens shows up in here? And so that's kind of the same thing. If one city says, hey, we don't want this, that's one thing. If a group comes together and says, hey, we 40 cities have concerns about this. Now, generally, the Railroad Commission is favorable to private business. So and they are entitled to a certain rate increase. It's just our bigger concern with this going forward is what that consolidation does, especially knowing that those rates are different. And should we have to pay higher rates because they want to bring us in with Austin?
Anybody have anything else?
No.
If not, then I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve Resolution R-014-25 denying Texas Gas Service Company's proposed increase in revenue and rate changes as submitted in its June 30th, 2025 Statement of Intent, and authorizing the city's legal counsel, Herrera Law and Associates, PLLC, to represent the city's interests before the Railroad Commission of Texas and recover reasonable rate case expenses.
I'll second.
And all in favor? And it passes. And item 18, consider and take appropriate action to adjourn.
Make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
And all in favor? And we are adjourned. Thank y'all for coming. Thank you for your work.